This is Pixel Blue's 2D animation and illustration program finale. So 6 months drawing my butt off to get to this point. This is the breakdown video. I hope you enjoy. Today I'm going to talk about my portfolio and what I did to make it the way it is. Section by section, telling you what my process was and how I got from point A to point B. Point B being a released portfolio. I'm still I'm very stoked about it. I'm very happy that I actually made something to this degree with the help of my instructors who were so generous in pushing me to get me to this state, and combined with my willingness and my passion for drawing, because I do truly love drawing, no matter how much it stresses on me. Being able to create, not just draw, but to create something to this degree is phenomenal. I can't describe how good I feel about myself. Anyway, off topic. I'm just going to start here, and it should open up with my logo. So we'll give this a watch. Inspired by the Game Boy. Yeah, I was really happy creating this logo. The logo itself was this icon, this cat icon right here. It was a graphic that I made trying to come up with different logos. I knew I had to have something cat related, just because that was my thought process through all of Pixel Blue. I do love drawing anthropomorphic animals. Is just always what I go through. I prefer drawing animals to humans. So sue me. So this graphic in the center here is what I started with, and I made this in Adobe Illustrator, which is a vector-based program. So all these are just separate points that I use to create this sort of geometric cat. And then when I wanted to animate it, what I had to do was take all of those pieces and separate them into like triangles. Notice how these don't have more than 3 sides. It was very, very difficult to figure out how to make all of them fit together with no, creases coming through it. With no flaws or mishaps. Things have to line up perfectly, and it was a challenge to get it that way. But I did. This logo took a lot longer than I had previously anticipated, because I wanted to get it so perfect, and I believe it's very, very exactly what I wanted it to be. Almost exactly what I wanted it to be. Of course, things could always get better. Things can always get better. That's the sad truth of being an artist, is like, oh, maybe I could add more to this. But for this demo reel, I think I'm very proud of myself for creating this specific graphic. And then the sweep and the ding at the end was just icing on the cake for me. And just with some blending mods in After Effects, I can't snap my fingers, I apologize, but it was immediately what I needed. So that's my logo. This is now my brand. I'm very, very happy that I have something to affiliate my brand with. All right, I'm taking too long on this next one. This song, by the way, was just one that I came across on the, I think the YouTube song database, like royalty-free stuff. And it really spoke to me, especially since I wanted to use like this blue-pink kind of hue, this kind of funky color vibe going on. And the song just really spoke to me for that. So the walk cycle. What a hassle. First of all, what a hassle to try and get this to work properly. So this character rig on the left here was around my 5th do-over for what I wanted for this character. I could have added a lot more into this simple walk cycle, but I just wanted to make it as clean. These are the roughs, these are the clean lines, and then leave it at that. So I started out with the legs. I just tried to start and get the legs walking, right? And you can kind of see some of the very, very rough ones that I have in there. But not a whole lot. So I first animated just sticks moving, and then I tried to make some form. I tried to put some form into those legs so that they don't look like sticks and they start looking like legs. And from there, it was like, well, do I want them to be like cat legs or more like human legs? Do I want the paws to be, a bit bigger, or do I want them to be more like teeny little cat paws? And there was so much problem solving just for the legs. But I got those roughs out a few times over. There's a long process. There's a few times over you have to go over your artwork to get it right. And eventually I came up with these. Then I drew the body and the head. I just very, very rough head bobbing movement as you do when you walk. And by this time I was very frustrated. And I was just done because I couldn't excel past that. I found like I felt like it was a roadblock for me to have this very rough character moving in sort of the way I wanted him to, and not knowing how to take that and move it into a clean lined motion, into a clean lined walk. Like, how do you get from point A to point B, right? How do you take what you created and take it to the next level? Push it past those limits of, okay, I think I'm done, but I'm definitely not done. So I made this rig. This took forever to put together, but I really wanted the proportions of the body to stay correct. And from there, I was able to take those shapes, do one more draw over of the clean lines. And then I left it for the portfolio because time was running out. But I was able to take it from one stage to the next, from very, very rough, from some, parented character rigs, to a more or less clean line art. I don't want to say this is the best, but this is the best that I could do in the time that I had. I'm very proud of myself for it. I still think his legs look kind of like goat legs, because I made the fur way too big and matted. But that's a fix-up for another day. Oop, hold on, back up a little bit there. So this was my first vector art project, taking from Illustrator into Photoshop and then painting it there. As you can see here, all the stuff is just flying into frame, and it's very neat stuff kind of folding in. That's all done in After Effects. Because each one of these assets are on different layers, I was able to just say, okay, like this painting can flip up from nothing, and some of them can drop down low opacity, yada yada yada. But that was all done in After Effects. The assets, however, were all made in Adobe Illustrator. So the bulletin board, let's say, it's just a bunch of squares and dots. It's just a bunch of squares and dots, but it's made in Illustrator in such a fast way that it has this really cool stylistic variation to it. The character too was just made in Illustrator. These are all just vector shapes put together, one on top of the other. And then this swipe, this cleanup swipe of everything. The background texture is now possible. The wood texture is actually just a photo texture that I kind of manipulated a little bit to fit. And same with this corkscrew texture. I think this is just like cement. It's supposed to be the cork board. And then a fun fact, actually, this little this picture here on the left, it is a short photo bash experiment that I had done just with some royalty-free mountain photos. I was able just to put them together and kind of paint over them, recreate it so that it doesn't hold to the same degree of photo, but it is something new. If that's how my words are working today, I guess that's how I can say things. Oh man, I didn't realize how cool those eyes were. Anyway, let's move on. Haley B. Canine. A name that I had come up with on the spot. Oh, sorry, go back again. a name that I came up with on the spot because there were some blank space on the bottom left of the screen that I didn't want there. I didn't want this. I didn't want any loose ends on this image, and that bottom space was just a little bit too empty for not having anything there. So I thought, all right, I'll call her Haley BK9 because, you know, that sounds like a fun name. She looks like a Haley to me. Yeah, another vector, from vector to painting illustration. This one, again, it wasn't meant to be in my portfolio. This was actually just a personal project that I had going on the side of my other creations. This had nothing to do with the classes that I was in during the semester of Pixel Blue. I feel like having those limits of this is what you need to draw, this is how it needs to look, all of those taken off. At times they can be very daunting, but for this character and one more that's coming up, it was very, very freeing because I could just go absolutely nuts. I felt like there were no restrictions in the sense that I was not going to mess anything up because this character was sincerely for practicing. And it turns out that it came out quite good, I would say. No, these ones I want to talk about forever. I can talk about Leonardo and Jesse forever. Leonardo is the cat, Jesse is the bird. This is meant to be a pitch project of mine. So I probably shouldn't talk about too much because, long story short, I am very, very confident that I can make this a full-fledged series or feature film. This is going to be my magnum opus, let's say, and these are the characters that I've created for it with the help of my instructor. Down on the bottom left was like my draft of the character because I've had it in my head for so long without actually drawing it that I didn't quite know where to go or what to do. So I started out with this this Sonic OC looking character, and I still like it. I still like that character. But it's way too kind of like basic level DeviantArt kind of, and I don't want to call out anybody because I love that kind of art, but it's more of that I just want to draw Sonic fan art kind of vibe. So with my instructor's help, we were able to take that asset and create the second one. This is this more graphic kind of cat character that seems more like it would be in a feature film or something like that, right? It's less protagonisty and more charactery. The best I can describe it. Don't ask me to describe things or speak in public. But yeah, that's all I'm going to give away. Vector characters again, and on to the next one, which is my turnaround. My turnaround for Leonardo. Again, I'm not going to talk about it. It's pretty straightforward. Then we got a rough pencil test of flying. Pretty straightforward. I did this one in Photoshop as opposed to Animate because this originally started out as just a doodle page. Like I just wanted to make doodles. I just wanted to doodle some birds. And it eventually, I just threw a timeline in there and said, screw it, let's put these together in this document right now. And it came out very, very nicely. Very, very nicely. All right, you know what? We'll get onto this one already. This is my pride and joy of the year, I would say. This is Mabel. What's very, very special about this piece, what very near and dear to my heart, was that this was meant to be nothing more than a quick sketch. This was meant to be nothing more than me testing out some body proportions, some difference in body types. So I wanted her to be, have a bit more bulk on her, a bit shorter of a character. I wanted to play around with the proportions as well as the body type. So that little bit of, tip up in the shoulders and tip up in the hips. That was all experimental for me. as well as the, you know, the bottom view looking up of the character was a new thing for me. I can't draw that way. When I started drawing this character, my thought process was, because it was just a practice character, I thought I should do all the things that I can't do. I should do all the things that I don't know how to do, that I really want to avoid, and just try my best. And a lot of it was hard work. Drawing the head took so many times. These rough ones at the beginning, this isn't half of it. This isn't the half of what I had to do to get this character the way it is. Like, there was so much. And you could see some of the, I would use perspective lines. Let's see if we can get a better one. I would use, perspective lines like this to try and get the feet the right way, or to try and get the hands the right way. And it was such an experimental process. And above all that, I just remembered, above all of that, I wanted to make clean line art, which I suck at. I hate clean line art because I work very messily. I like being able to take things out and put things around and paint over someone's face and then paint over someone's face again without having to worry about the restrictions of line art. But when I took that time to really refine all of these lines, I was able to take the painting phase to the next level. So when it came to this, again, at this point, the background wasn't even started. I didn't start the background when I got the character to this point. But it was a matter of, let's try going very, very dark and very, very bright, and just bringing out everything in the character, using some different colors. Like, this is kind of a brownish, wilted rose kind of looking shirt, and then it goes into a nice pink. And all the shadows are this like dark red, like this this velvet color, something I don't usually do. And then this finished version. And because, I know you're all looking at it, you all realize, because this was just meant to be a quick character design, I did it all in 1920 by 1080. And if you guys are unfamiliar, that is good for websites, that's good for posting stuff online, that's a good TV size. But for prints and for zooming in, it's not a super high quality for art like this. So I'm left with this, which is a lower quality of what it should be. However, I still think it looks fantastic, and I am so proud of myself. I'm genuinely really proud of myself for being able to put this together. I also love the red eyes that came out. That's sincerely just a filter from her original amber eyes. Alright, onto that. Oh boy. I just caught a glimpse of what's coming up next.
And what about you? What skills do you have to bring to the table? And what about you? What skills do you have to bring to the table?
Alright, so dialogue. First of all, frustrating. I created the character. I actually have it right here. I have the character right here. I don't know if the camera will focus on that. I don't know if that'll look terrible. First rough draft of the character. When I brought this up, I had just watched How to Train Your Dragons 3, and it got me really into the series. I actually bought the art book for How to Train Your Dragons 3, and from that point on, for the next 2 weeks, everything in my head was just like Vikings and dragons and mystical realms. And that's when this character was born. It was just like, hey, I want to make this kind of like big bulky guy, and he's got a low voice, and he says, I didn't even plan for him to say this. I was recording stuff in my car, And I was like, okay, what if he says something like, hey, what about you? What skills do you have to bring to the table? And I showed that to my teacher because it was my best take. It was like, you know what? I like this one. I'm going to roll with this one. Whatever. It's just like, it's a dialogue sync up. I think I wanted to say this. So I made this character in Illustrator. I put him in front of a table. I whipped him over to animate. And and then I absolutely lost it because animating him and his mouth movements were much more difficult than I anticipated.
And what about you? What skills do you have to bring to the
But
table?
it came out so nicely, I would say. A little bit of jittery, like a little bit of jitters in his body, in his motion. If I had more time and I knew what I was doing, I would definitely like do this again and make it all nice and fresh and clean. But this is what I made, and we focused a lot on mouth movements, so the ooh and the e sounds and the and taking those and trying not to, you know, over exaggerate them. You don't talk like this. You talk essentially, especially in animation, like it for each syllable is kind of a one clean movement to the other, or even not one syllable, but even like full words. Sometimes if you're saying like, how are you today? It could just be the ha, oo, eh, you know, like you can just make those movements. And so it was a practice of restricting and dumbing down what could have been a disastrous dialogue. Next up, I got my props. I didn't make anything specifically for the portfolio. This was assignment way back at the beginning of the course, I'll have to say. One of our prompts was coffee makers. And me being a coffee addict, I thought I would love to do that. I would love to make coffee makers. And so on the top left, I've got like a little makeshift kind of camping stove hooked up to a French press looking metallic thing. It doesn't really make sense. It's not totally, well, it does make sense. Like I would see how it works. But it's not a real thing. And then the next one I have is I actually own this. This is a portable coffee maker / water boiler type of thing. It's really handy. You know, when I was studying philosophy at the King's University, I would take this into the basement. And I would have an infinite supply of Earl Grey tea, hot chocolate, and instant coffee ready at any time. I would stay up until 3 a.m. reading and writing essays, and I'd always have coffee or tea or Earl Grey tea or hot chocolate. So that's really cool. I feel like I did a good job with that one. Then I got just an espresso maker and my classic clear coffee pot. And on the right, I have an espresso maker that looks kind of like an AT-AT Walker. Still an illustration I'm very, very proud of because I got that kind of. It's very. You know, words don't work. But a very, very old piece that I was able to put together in Photoshop. My birds. I love my birds. If you couldn't already tell, birds are one of my favorite things to draw. So this right here is another character I would love to incorporate into a feature-length film. I don't mind showing you now because, you know, this is in development. So facial expressions on the left. Very, very cool. Very fun to do. I would say that the bottom left... I say that because I was drawing it and I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if she had like this pissed face? That her head's leaning forward, you know, one eyebrow's kind of raised a little bit. Like, what the heck are you doing? But yeah, this very cool character. I love her. Oh, I love these. So the bottom room is a bass player's basement bedroom. It looks pretty awesome. Lots and lots and lots of layer types have gone into this, like layer overlays. So a lot of the lighting effects came out to making a new layer, connecting it to a bottom layer, like say, for example, the wall in the background. I'd have that layer set apart from everything that comes before it. I'd select an area, draw over that area with a soft light layer, and then and on the bottom one, I would add a single selected area for a hue adjustment, a colorized hue adjustment, and I make everything in this blue hue, which looks really, really cool. And the top one, little bit unfinished, as you could see, but I think it's graphically acceptable, is just a kitchen room with some interesting red lighting and this almost fuchsia velvet hue. Also very cool. Funny thing about these two actually is they are the way they're stacked on top of one another. But these were meant to be in a full 4-story house illustration, the 4th story being the attic and the roof. And I wanted to have each room in its own perspective. I wanted to have every room have its own perspective. So you can see the basement. The perspective is coming out from the phone, from the light source, which is the phone. And in the kitchen, it's coming out from the light source, which is the lights on the ceiling. Actually, it's more centered than that, but you get the point. I had 2 more floors, each with their own perspective point, which was amazing. But if anyone out there wants to contact me for business-related stuff, please do. I'll be super excited to take some opportunities. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed my portfolio, and I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown of it. Let me know if you want me to go more in depth into some of these pieces, and let me know which one is your favorite. Let me know which, tell me what I did good, and tell me what I did wrong, please. Please criticize me. I'm opening this video up to complete criticism of my artwork. And once again, if you haven't seen my reel, please go check it out. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.